What's up, you guys? I am so excited for this episode because it's the last episode of season 2. I'll soon be coming back with season 3, don't worry. But it's at the same time a little bit of a surprise to me because I never actually thought I would start my own podcast and reach this far already. It feels like yesterday that I've started recording, but we're already at season 2 and it's honestly a huge surprise. I can't wait to start this episode because it's so fun and very different. I've never recorded a Q&A episode. That's right, this is a Q&A episode. So recently I had asked you all, I had sent you a poll on my broadcast channel on Instagram and asked you all to ask me some questions that you guys want to know about me. And thank you for all the questions, but they were around 100 to 120. Of course, I can't answer them all in a single episode. So I have over here some 10 commonly asked questions by you guys that I have noted down, and I personally think that most of you all want to know. So let's get started. But before that, make sure to check the links in the description box below so that when season 3 is going to come back, you are not clueless about it and you know when it's gonna come back. That is, I'll be updating on my Instagram, on my threads, on my YouTube, everywhere. So make sure that you're following me and are up to date. So let's get started already. The first question is, how do you cope up with difficult situations? Honestly, I think every single person has something or the other going on. It's not like you know everything about a content creator just because they post so much on social media platforms. There is always a part of them which is away from social media. And especially me being a public figure, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a podcaster and an influencer. There are a lot of times where I also have to go through difficult situations in my life which are not necessarily known to you all, because of course everything should not really be seen to the public and some things are better kept private. There are times where I feel like life is really difficult, I cannot go through it, I just cannot get up the next day and work on my goals. But every single time I get up and I work towards myself, it's a living proof that even if I do go through difficult situations, I can always get myself back up. I can always redirect myself into the right direction, and I can always motivate myself to go at the goals again instead of just giving up and sitting and rotting on my bed. So whenever there's a difficult situation and I think that I can't really go through it right now, I would honestly never react with a very aggressive mind or emotions towards any situation, because trust me, whenever I've done that before, like if somebody used to hurt me, I used to react back with the same amount of hatred and the same amount of negative energy. I realized that not everything that people do is directed towards you. It's not personal every single time. It's usually most of the times how the person has been through in their life, how they are right now, what have they experienced before, what are they continuously experiencing in their life, what is their mindset and everything. So whenever a person tries to attack me and tries to distract me and tries to disturb my peace, I always remind myself that it's never personal. It's always upon the person's mind and how they have gone on with their life, how they are living right now. So whenever it comes towards another person and me, I always deal with such situations with a very calm mind. I always think about every possible solution, and the most important thing, I always ask myself, what would the best version of myself do in this situation? However, there's not always situations which are related to friendships or the people in your life, but sometimes difficult situations on your own as well. Like for example, I have difficulty working out more than half an hour or 1 hour if I'm doing Pilates. So if I stress myself out on it, I cannot even do that half an hour or 1 hour, right? So what I try to do is that I try to do only that much. I don't exceed my capacity, because then I just feel really overwhelmed and I feel like not doing it again, which I don't want to do. Of course, I want to get fit and move my body and keep my body active. So I don't force myself. That is another aspect of a difficult situation. I don't know which one you guys are asking here, so I'm just answering every single aspect that I am thinking of right now. Then there are situations where you have to go through new experiences which are tough for you. For example, something going on with you and another person, like your friend, your family member, anybody, your cousin, anybody. There is always something that is going on and you have to deal with them in a very good way, otherwise the situation becomes worse. So the three things that I always do in every situation, whether it's friendship, whether it's family, whether it's work, it's anything, I always calm myself down the first thing, because I know if I get violent, the situation's only gonna get worse for me and for the other person as well, and for both of our minds, of course. And then the second thing I do is ask myself, what would the best version or what would the future version of me do? Because of course she's gonna be more mature, she's gonna be more experienced, she's gonna be a whole different woman and not who I am right now. I'm always going to evolve, I'm always going to change myself towards the better. So I would always ask myself, what would that version of me do? How would she deal with this situation? How would she react? How would she calm herself down? All of these questions. And the third thing is, of course, thinking of a possible solution which is good for calming the situation down, as well as not harming the other person in the same way they harm you, because I would never want to become like those who hurt me or those who downgrade me, because that's just negative energy which I don't want in my life. So I would never turn out like those people. I would always keep myself away from such people. So it completely depends on the situation, but the three things that I just mentioned are a compulsion, are a mandate in every single situation that happens to me or with me. Then of course how I react and what solution and whatever the discussion happens is depending on the situation, the person, the bond and the timing. The next is, what is success for you? Honestly, a lot of people think that success is doing a lot of work, achieving every single goal, waking up with the same energy every single day and achieving your goals, your tasks, completing everything you promised yourself that you're gonna do, winning awards, working on new projects and everything. Of course, that is a beautiful aspect of looking at success. However, I have two aspects of how I look at my own success. Everybody has their own opinion, their own perception and their own view of looking at success and a successful person, of course. But what I do is I have divided success into two different aspects. One is of course achieving my goals, working on my dreams, succeeding at something that I never really thought I could do, and all of those things, like the materialistic things, winning awards, doing shoots, working on new projects, meeting new people. However, it is also, which is the most important part for me, that how I feel while achieving it and after achieving it and before. I compare these three different areas or different phases where, firstly, of course, when I used to start, I would always be a little bit nervous. I would overthink a little bit before actually starting a task for myself, because I would think whether this would actually gain success or not. And then during doing it, I would still almost think the same thing. I would always try to think of the best possible outcome. And then, of course, after I've achieved it, do I feel proud of myself? Do I feel accomplished? Do I hit the pillow at night feeling proud, feeling happy, feeling like I've actually done something? Because a lot of people think that success is just to showing out to the world that look what I've won, look what I've done. But to me it is, Naisha, look what you have done. What have you achieved? How is it making you feel right now? So if I am winning an award, I would always ask myself, am I actually proud of this, or am I just winning this little material thing for showing it to the world? Because to the world I am successful right now as well, but to me I am successful, but I want to be more successful. So I would think of ways on how I can improve this success and gain more success, like basically multiply the success I have right now. I would always focus on how I feel towards it instead of what I'm winning. So if I'm winning an award, am I going up the stage feeling proud of myself? Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling grateful? Am I feeling glad that I've done so much to achieve that award, to deserve that award? that is what I usually focus on. Of course, success comes with freedom, with a lot of accomplishment, with the world complimenting you, with the world being happy for you. But are you happy for yourself? Are you feeling proud of yourself? Or is it just because everybody around you is like, oh my god, you won this, you won that, that is so good, that is so amazing? No. So what I focus on is how I feel, instead of looking at what other people are complimenting me about, because obviously that is important, that is really a green flag. However, am I feeling good? Am I feeling proud? Am I feeling like I've actually done something to achieve the success? And then, of course, I celebrate. The next is, how do you manage your studies, writing, editing, shooting, etc.? Okay, so this is actually a really commonly asked question. Mostly the new people I meet are always asking me the same thing. Finally, I'm gonna answer it. Basically, I have this very simple and strict foundation set for myself. If I hit the pillow at night feeling disappointed and feeling like I've procrastinated on every single thing that I had set for myself today, if I feel like I've done nothing and I could have done something, no. Then you'll find me crying, then you'll find me beating myself up for it, then you'll find me overworking myself just to get shit done. And that's not at all what I want to do, or what anybody wants to do. Nobody wants to sleep knowing that they've disappointed themselves. For me, it's completely okay to disappoint other people in my life, but it's never okay to disappoint myself. So when I hit the pillow at night thinking that, oh, I should have done this, I could have done that, I don't like these words. I don't like should have or could have. I like, I am doing it, I have done it, I have succeeded at it, I have completed it. These are the words I look forward to every single night before I sleep, and this is what keeps me going. Believe it or not, motivation is important, discipline is important, but how you feel is also important. I think if you have seen or heard my episodes, you always know that I'm mostly talking about how I feel towards things, and then how other people view it and how I'm achieving and everything. So for me, it's always the internal part first and then the external part. So if I hit the pillow at night thinking that I've done nothing and I should have done something, I will never ever be proud of myself after that. So I always make sure that I've done every single thing I promised myself that I would do, because this of course contributes in your confidence and shows that you actually care about yourself and your goals and your dreams, and you want to achieve them, you are passionate towards them. If I hit the bed thinking that I have done this, what can I do more? That is the most content feeling I ever feel. No matter how much I do, no matter what I do, it's just that I want to do things and I want to get ish done before I sleep, so that I sleep feeling proud, feeling happy, feeling content and feeling grateful, and thinking what else can I do to multiply these feelings. I would never feel like I have not done something just because I didn't achieve it. At least I tried. Literally, at least I tried. Not a lot of people are brave enough to try the things in the first place. I got out of my comfort zone. I did things I never thought I could do, like starting this podcast. I promised myself that I'm gonna do this particular thing, and I did it. Literally, I did it. So this is also a sort of success for me. Sleeping knowing that I've done things I promised myself to do is so important, and that's when I actually feel like I've succeeded and I've gotten a really good accomplishments out of the day. So that's how I manage my motivation and my discipline towards my studies, editing, shooting, etc. And of course there are many time management tips that are found all over social media, but I usually don't follow every single one of them, because sometimes it's just really confusing and overwhelming, and there are going to be a million people who are going to give advices, but doesn't mean you have to follow each one of them. So I usually set this foundation for myself, and then of course I have this app called Structured, which I think you must have heard because I usually talk about it in every single episode. It's really cool for managing your task, for getting things done and not forgetting to do something and everything. So that's how I manage, and honestly I'm quite capable of motivating myself and disciplining myself into things I promised myself that I would do. So that's how I manage. It's not really that easy, of course. There are days where I'm really tired. There are days where I don't feel like studying after shooting, or there are days where I don't feel like recording content. But I would always ask myself, am I just feeling this for the sake of not doing it, for the sake of procrastinating the task? Or am I actually tired? Am I actually drained? Am I actually feeling like I just cannot do it? Because see, there are people who are going to be tired. There are going to be days where you don't feel like doing something, but it really depends on the purpose of not doing it. So if my purpose is to procrastinate or keep it for the next day, I would literally beat myself up for it. No matter what, I would get up and do it. But if I am actually tired after a long shoot day, I really don't have energy to study or to post or to record anything, I would not. I would give myself break days when I think I need it. And it's really the intention that matters when you procrastinate or not do a task you said you're gonna do. So if my intention is that I actually need to give my body and mind rest, I would give it rest. But if my intention is to keep it for the next day, then I would definitely get it done. So that's how I manage, and that's how I don't skip on my studies, shoot, recording, everything. The next is, being so young, how have you managed to be so confident? Honestly, I don't think, okay, I'm not flexing, not bragging or something, but I don't think I've ever felt underconfident about myself. I've always been a little average on my confidence, but now it's of course double because I've started my confidence journey. So I have never felt insecure about anything usually, because I've always done things I said I'm gonna do. I've always felt that I am looking good even if somebody tells me I'm not. I've never really based my validation externally, and it was always internal, and how I feel about myself and how I look at things in different ways. So I was never really underconfident. I was never really insecure. However, there were days where I felt like I could have done better, and that's when my confidence level drops. That's when I feel like, why am I not doing it? Why am I beating myself up for it? Why am I procrastinating? That's the only part where I've never felt confident. I don't think there's anything else, because I've always usually done things, and I've always experienced so much to the point where I never felt underconfident about anything I usually do. Also, it's like, I know who I am, I know what I say to people, I know what I think about myself, and I know how I feel about myself. So these are the factors that have contributed into my confidence, because a lot of people usually base their own self-perception on other people instead of looking at their own selves, instead of actually reflecting on their own selves and their own behavior and their own actions. So this is what I've always done. It's never happened that I never did it. So I was always very content, very peaceful with myself. So I had never felt underconfident, or I've never felt average or something. It was always there, like the confidence was never gone. The next is how to start your self-confidence journey. Now, I don't think there's a particular time to start this journey, because whatever you do related to yourself, whether it's self-love, self-care, or self-growth or self-confidence journey, there's no time for it. You can start right now after watching this episode or listening to this episode. You can start after you have done something and you feel like you can do better. That's when you can start. You can start anytime, you can change anytime you want. To me, honestly, I started it when I actually felt like I can't people please, I can't do things that I don't want to do anymore, and that's when I started my self-love, self-growth, self-confidence journey. So honestly, there is no right time to start. You can always start whenever you feel like you need an improvement or change within yourself. So if you feel right now also that you need to change, start. Like literally, there's no time. Just make sure that whatever you do is always benefiting you. Don't look at other people, don't listen to their opinions, and actually have an episode linked down below which you can check out for getting a little more deep into this topic. The next is, what does self-love mean to you? That's a very, very good question actually. I don't think everybody has asked me this. Self-love to me is being content within myself even if I don't have many friends, supporting myself, respecting myself, loving myself first, and then comes the other people around me. Self-love is also, as I said, doing things I said I'm gonna do, because that actually shows that I love and care for myself. Self-love is this sort of feeling that I always felt within myself. I've always been very caring towards myself and my needs before anybody else's. So that is what self-love means to me. It's never external, it's always internal, as I keep saying. The next is how to stand firm on your own boundaries. So I actually have this whole episode which is based on this topic, so I would not really go that deep into it right now. But I think when you don't stand firm on your boundaries, you are allowing people to step over you. You're allowing people to not respect your boundaries when you don't respect your own. So make sure that you respect your own boundaries. You have set clear boundaries for yourself and for other people as well, and you stand firm on it no matter what. The next is, why did you start this podcast and what made you do it? Okay, that's another good question. I think when I was listening to a lot of self-growth and development YouTubers, I always felt like I'm very drawn towards it, and that's how I thought that I should start my own thing as well, because I am really good at talking, I'm really good at sharing advices. So I always wanted to start this, and here I am. And the last question is, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? Honestly, I think I would rather not answer this question, because there are things that I'm always going to feel like I need to improve on, because that's how people grow, that's how people evolve. So there's always going to be something that I really want to work on myself, and maybe my patience towards things which I don't like, because when I don't like something, I am not really patient with it. So maybe that's one thing that I can share with you all, which I personally feel like I should change about myself. And we come to the end of season 2. I am so glad that I started this podcast in the first place. It was never something that I thought I was gonna do, but here we are. Thank you so much for sticking, and I am really grateful. If you are liking these episodes, make sure that you've subscribed, liked, shared, commented on my channel, and I'm gonna be returning soon with season 3, so stay tuned for that, and make sure that you are following my socials so that you never miss an update. Thank you, I love you, see you soon, bye, take care.